Yes, yes, and we're live. Welcome to another heavyweight based live stream. My name's Klaus Heavyweight Hill. Today I'm going to do 2-in-1 live streams because due to a rookie error yesterday, I deleted yesterday's live stream off of YouTube by mistake. So I'll do a fresh one and then I'll go over again what I did yesterday. So you're in for a treat, double bubble today. All right, first topic, my top 5 mixed mistakes that I see when I get sent records. Yeah, there's a lot of mistakes you get. There's a lot of mistakes I see when I get sent mixes, but these 5 are the main ones. Number 1, mixing your hi-hats too loud and excessive energy in the 5 to 8K area. Just brightness, just sharpness, especially in a lot of house music this day and age. Just, it's really fatiguing on the ears. Especially as a lot of club systems are just not great. Not every club system is going to have an amazing system, and if having those loud, sharp hi-hats just going to take people's heads off. So, things I recommend you doing is, one, just if you're having a problem with loud hats or people are telling you your hats are loud, mix them as normal, and then at the end just turn them down a couple of dB. For the sharpness, for the harshness, you can try dynamic EQ. Just on so the dynamic EQ is set to move when the hat comes in, and just rein in a little bit of that sort of 5 to 7K area. You could try some multi-band compression, just fast attack, fast release, just so the multi-band is moving quick to duck those hats down. I like a plugin called Soothe, SOOTHE. It's a sort of intelligent dynamic EQ. You adjust the threshold on the right hand side, and you'll see the gain reduction happening, and it starts taking out the resonant filters and the harshness. And another one is Gullfoss, GULFOSS, which is another new intelligent EQ, which it's got a tame section which you just adjust, and you can see the harshness being ducked down. Or you could use a good old-fashioned de-esser, to rein in the harshness on the hats. Or again, a good old-fashioned EQ, just YQ, take a dip out. But that is a huge thing that I see. Excessive top end, harsh hi-hats. Rein them in. It makes the track sound smoother, makes the track sound tighter. Number 2, sidechain madness. Alright, I know pumping is a big thing in dance music, and that's fine, but you really need to learn your plugins that you're doing it with. If you're going to do it with a standard compressor, it's understanding your attack and release times and getting the release times so that the pump is right. And if you're using like LFO tool and stuff, it's just read the manual and understand it, because like hearing horrible sidechain where the timing is not right, where the release is wrong, and things are snapping up too fast, and it's not a neat pump, and you'll notice bits of distortion that pops up in between on the release of the sidechain. It's not in time, sidechain out of time with the track where the release is wrong. So spend a bit more time, understanding, getting the release times right. I like Track Spacer, which is by Wade's Factory, I think it is. That's a track that a plugin that I use for sidechaining. I mean, generally, I'm not a big fan of the pumping sound, unless it's done really well. But sidechaining for creating space and making room between the kick and the bass, and you can use sidechain not necessarily for that. You can sidechain hats off of the kick to get a little bit more shuffle going on. Sidechaining vocals off of synths, so that or sidechaining synths off of the vocals, so that when the vocal pops, so the vocal comes in, the synths just duck down a little bit and things pop out. Some ideas that you can do for some, for other things you do for sidechaining. But big thing, get your sidechain release times right. Just get things so it's moving correctly in the track. Number 3, mono compatibility. Stereo bass lines, bane of my life. So many sample packs this day and age, so many soft synths, everything comes out in stereo. Now, that's great for listening at home on your stereo systems, but still today most club systems are in mono, or you know, you'll have mono stack at the front, stereo satellites around the dance floor. You just can't really have stereo systems, full stereo systems in a club, because everyone would have to stand in the center of the dance floor, left and right, and you know, you've got people over at the bar and people at the back here, so you just can't have it. So you've got to make sure your music translates across. Mono compatibility. Those stereo bass lines just going to phase in and out, you know, so make sure you're hitting that mono button and listening to your track in mono, listening to the compatibility, making sure that things are folding over and are playing back correctly. Those stereo bass lines are going all the way down to like 20 hertz inside a lot of these soft synths. You know, you need to be strategic about what you're doing. You know, you've got to make sure that from 200 down, I like, but you know, minimum from 100 down is mono and is playing back correctly in a club. Same goes for, you know, wide stereo loops, drum loops, percussion loops. That's another one that I hear loads with, you know, a hi-hat here and a different hi-hat out on this side. And it, you know, when you flick it to mono, those hats just disappear. So just take a bit more time, narrow some samples in. You don't, you know, things don't need to be so wide. Just make sure that your phase, you know, when things fold over, that things don't sort of cancel each other out. There's a few good plugins out there. Voxengo do a plugin called PH 246 or something like that, which allows you to adjust the phase of loops and sounds, so you can bring them in. There's all sorts of various plugins out there for doing it all, but in general, most of those plugins are great for when you're working with recorded sources to bring everything in. For what, you know, for club music, it's not so much of an issue, but it's just about making sure that the sounds you are using are just not disappearing, and it's not about lining them up, it's just about narrowing them in and bringing them in and getting rid of the stereo content that you don't need. For basses, you know, that's where layering basses comes up. You know, you have your low sub, everything from 100 below is in mono, and then you can have the wider bits above it, and you know, and then you can open it up even more. What was that? That was number 3. Number 4, over compression. Just over compressing stuff is a huge problem in dance music. Less is more with compression in my mind. Samples, sample packs, soft synths, all these sort of stuff. Their stuff is so good this day and age, already, you know, coming out of the synth and straight off the sample pack, already been heavily processed, that you don't need to go crazy inside the track, or you shouldn't do. So just cut down on the compression. It's like, you know, over compression is just, you just hear it everywhere, and it's not a pretty sound. You really don't need to do it. Just, you know, a lot of stuff, the sounds have already been processed. So, you know, heavy compression on your drum bus and you know, and just understanding compression in general is like a huge problem. You need to learn what you attack and what the release times are doing. So spend more time reading the manual and learning those ones. We'll do a separate stream on compression, so I ain't going to do it now. But over compression. And number 5, multi-band on the master bus. It's not a band-aid fix-all, and it's not going to make your track sound louder. Loudness potential starts in the mix. Multi-band compression is not going to give you that. Aim to, you know, do your track mixing without anything on the master channel, get a balanced full mix, get all the sounds right at the beginning, and you won't need to be using multiband. But the misuse of multiband limiting and compression on the master channel is another one. So again, it's a tool that's there to be used, but you can hear it when it's overused, and you know, it just, there's a sound to it. And again, it's not understanding attack and release times. So there's my top 5 of just issues that I see on a day-to-day basis that people send. Ways around them is just being strategic and cutting back in the use of a lot of the processing stuff, and also just generally getting a good grasp of what things do. If you don't understand what a tool does, if you don't understand how a compressor works, if you don't understand, you know, how the difference between you know, on the EQ with different modes, what parametric EQ is, what a Portec is, if you don't understand what linear phase is, just don't use them. Use the basic stuff and understand each tool as you go. You know, there's plenty of good resources online that you can read up, and play around with each bit and understand what it does, but just don't willy-nilly load it on and think, you know, I saw such and such use it in a live stream. I was use this person here because it, and I'm going to do the same thing. It's a huge problem, and you can still have a loud full track without the use of like multi-band and all that sort of stuff. That just squashes the sounds and makes things sound over compressed. You know, if you get the mix balance right and the sound choice right, things will be a lot more open, a lot more fuller, and will sound way louder. All right, live stream part number 2. I'm going to talk about my ultimate bedroom producer monitoring system. Loads of you are going to be working in bedrooms, in rented apartments, where you can't put any acoustic treatment up on the walls. You know, it's just you're not working in an ideal situation. So the stuff I'm going to recommend now is what I suggest bedroom producers should be using. I mean, you know, this day and age, if you can have a set of monitors, that's great. But this setup that I'm going to suggest to you guys will get you across the line, and your mixes will translate. They will bang in the club, and you know, they will sound good, and if not better than using monitors in an untreated room. So first up, I'm going to suggest the sub pack. This is a rumble pack on steroids. Line out comes into the sub pack from your sound card. This goes all the way down to 20 hertz. There's no bass sound coming out of it. It's all vibration. And you have it on your chair, and your body feels the bass, and in return it makes it feel like you're standing in front of a club system. This can be used with with studio monitors, but I prefer it with a pair of headphones. Now, when you use this with this, it makes the headphones sound like its low end extension is going all the way down. It tricks the brain. It makes it sound like the bass is coming from your headphones, and then you also feel the bass around your body. This is an incredible tool. So the link to Subpack is in the description. You know, go over there and have a look. This is what I recommend. You're going to have no room issues with low end with one of these because there's no sound coming from it. And as I've already shown before, my other recommendation is going to be headphones. Now, these are Audeze. These are very expensive, but these are the most incredible headphones I've ever heard. The detail on these is, you know, it's like you're sitting in a fully treated mixing room, especially when you're working with the sub pack. Now, I've actually worked on these headphones with a sub pack, and I've mixed numerous platinum, gold, and #1 club records on it. Stuff does translate. In the old days, I would never ever have recommended a headphone system like that, you know, mixing on them. But technology's moved along so far this day and age that you've got headphones like Audeze's and other high-end headphones where stuff just translates. So that's my suggestion. Now, if you don't have the budget, because these aren't cheap, over in Australia, these, you know, you can get them for about $1,700 a pair. If I was, you know, if you were going to go out and spend, you know, $2,000 on studio monitors for your bedroom, I wouldn't even bother doing that. I'd go and get a pair of these and a sub pack. But don't despair if you don't have that kind of money. You know, there are some cheaper headphones that are going to work for you, that are going to work with the sub pack as well. So a few other recommendations are Hi-Fi Man 400i's, the Sennheiser 600 and 650s. All three of those I would recommend using Sonarworks, which was a discussion earlier in the week. You don't need to use Sonarworks on the Audeze's. They're, you know, they sound great, but Sonarworks really does work well with the sort of cheaper budget headphones. And another pair that I'm going to recommend are the new Adams. So these are an original design by Ultrasone, which is a world famous headphone manufacturer. And then Adam have taken them and retuned and calibrated, you know, recalibrated them and got their own model, and they're called the Studio Pro SP5. I really like these. These are closed back, whereas these what is here, open back. Normally, I would suggest open back headphones if you're, you know, producing and mixing, because closed back tends to make it the sound, you know, more closed in. we've opened back the sound travels out so that you get a little bit more movement, and it just, you know, things, stereo image on the headphones is a little bit better with open, I think. So that's my choice. But these are really, I've been really impressed by these. So these are another one that I'm going to add to the list. If you're in Australia, you can get the Odyssey and the Adams from Federal Audio. So just speak to Chris. The Hi-Fi Man, you can pick up some good deals on Amazon. They there was at one point last year you could pick them up for about 400 Australian. The Sennheiser, just shop around as well. You're going to pick up some good deals on Amazon and online and stuff like that. But there you go. That's my recommendation. Headphones sub pack for the bedroom producer. You're gonna nullify any room issues, and you hopefully, I'm 100% sure that your mixes will take a huge leap up, especially if you invest in something like the Audeze. But the low end translation on the sub pack is just ridiculous. You can hear every high pass filter, every little EQ cut, and everything else. It just, when you're working with them, your body feels it, and then your brain fills in the space, and it, as I said, it sounds like the low end extension is coming from the headphones. So there we go. That's the end of today. I'm gonna call it. I'm gonna finish up. Hope you're all well. Do another live stream again tomorrow. It's the weekend, so I might just do one on Sunday. But take care. Hope you're all well. See you later.